All right. All right. What's up? This is Thursday's edition of Notes from the Route. My name is Jared Forte, and it is noon. So if you're on the East Coast, good afternoon. And anywhere else in the world, good morning or whatever time it is. I appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your Thursday to chill with me and workshop some ideas. We do this every Monday through Thursday right here on G Plus. Also, you can catch a stream on YouTube and on my website, jaredforte.com. If you want to pop in live and join the conversation, it'll be real cool. And if you like how I get down here, if you enjoy the ideas, or you think that some of the topics that I cover are valuable and interesting to you and the work that you do, go ahead on and subscribe. If you're on YouTube, if you look down, there's going to be a subscribe to this channel button. That way you can stay in the loop. Also, if you go to jaredforte.com and say, put the email address in any of the boxes there, what you'll get is a weekly email. Once I get my game together, it'll be a weekly email. It'll give you a recap of the episodes from the week that was before, in case you missed any, and also a preview of the upcoming sessions, so you'll know what we're going to cover. And I might be off the rails. Everything that I put out might not be of interest to you, but if you want to stay in the loop, so that you, when I am covering something that is pertinent to your business or pertinent to the work that you do, you'll know about it, so you can pop in and join the conversation. Also, when you're on the list, you can hit me up and say, hey, I'm working with this issue, or I'm doing this type of work. Maybe can you cover your thoughts on that, or what do you have to say about this particular challenge or issue or problem that I have? And if I have anything on it, then I can build a session around it. If I don't know, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot more that I don't know than I do, and what I think I know, I might not know. But if there's any way that I can help, I'd be more than happy to include the topics that you feed me back on in the discussions that we have going forward from this point. So it's Thursday, and what I like to do is kind of connect the dots on the material that we covered during the week and kind of put a bow on it, tie it all together, and hopefully package it in a way so that you can move forward and sort of incorporate the best of the ideas into your work and your life, and move into your weekend with a new, with a fresh perspective on things. Looking back over the week, what the theme, the overriding theme, has been sort of inner game, some of the inner game aspects of creativity and craftsmanship. And you can hear elite athletes talk about the inner game a lot. They'll say stuff like, well, I have to focus on what I'm doing, and if I'm executing to the best of my ability, I don't have to worry about what everyone else is doing. Really, it's about me doing the best that I can do. You hear people talk about that, and that's a very powerful place to come from, when you understand that in reality, all you can do is go out there and do your best. One of the things that challenges that for most people is the fact that we exercise a certain level of economy with our effort. Most of us will do just enough to get by in a lot of situations. We play down to the competition, so to speak. We require high level, we require situations to come into our life that make us step up, or else we don't go all out. That's just sort of part of the human condition. Even the best of us can play down to our competition at times. But and the idea of competition, because the reality is that all we can do is the best we can do. The real competition is with ourselves. But if you're in the marketplace, naturally there are going to be other people who you are quote unquote competing with. And because there are low barriers in a lot of places where that wasn't always the case in the past, when there's low barriers, there's more opportunity for everyone. It's easier to get in the game for a lot of people. The cost of entry, in a variety of things, especially those things that are tied to technology, getting in the game is cheaper. If you want to get in the music business, you don't have to like book $1 million studio to get a quality product. You don't have to have shop your demo around. There are a lot of tools that are available that allow you to make something of quality, and a lot of ways that you can have direct access to an audience of people who are interested in what you have. If you're a publisher, if you're a writer, then you don't have to get a contract with a major publisher in order to have your work seen. You can go directly to the audience. So the barriers are low, but because the barriers are low, the competition is higher. There are more people out there that are doing things and competing. But competition is just evidence of opportunity. If you're out there doing something and there's nobody else doing it, it might be because there's no need for it in the market. It might be there's no demand for it. So if there are other people around doing the types of things that you are doing who are in the arena that you're in, and that's a good sign. But the thing is, opportunity is irrelevant until you can win the inner game. If you can't, the real competition isn't out there in the marketplace. The real competition is inside of you, and that's what we're going to go into. It's that conversation that's in your mind and it's your ego, right? And it's throwing up all kinds of roadblocks and barriers that keep you from performing and achieving at the level that you hope to achieve. Now, a real quick note: if you're on the G Plus page and you want to jump backstage with me, you want backstage access, so you can pop in. You can leave comments there right on the G Plus page. I can see those, or there's a link above Backstage Pass. You click on that, then you can pop up in the film strip if you got something you want to throw in. But back to the thing, the conversation is your ego throwing up roadblocks, barriers to keep you from getting started. Ego is great. Ego is necessary. It motivates you to strive. If you didn't have an ego, you wouldn't have any drive to try to accomplish anything. So it's an essential part of who you are. But it's not necessarily conducive to learning and growth, because when you're learning and you're growing, you're going to look bad. You're going to suck before you get good. And the ego doesn't want to look bad. The ego wants to skip ahead to the point where you have it all figured out. One thing the ego does is it overestimates how much people are thinking about you at any given point. Most of the time, the ego rises up, doesn't want to look bad. In reality, when you're starting out, nobody's looking at you. So it doesn't matter that you're trying to figure it out. Nobody that matters really is even paying attention to you at the beginning. So that's a fear that the ego throws up. Now, it's important that you do get to the point where you are polished, that you do look good, that you do have some flavor and swag and can present yourself and compel people with your presentation. But you're not doing that in service of your ego. What you're doing is you're doing that in service of the people who can benefit from your message, who can enjoy the product that you're putting out. That polish enhances their experience. It's not about gratifying your ego because you look good. It's about looking good and enhancing the experience of the people who are consuming your art, who are using your product and service. It's a better experience for them. So the polish, it allows you to provide more value. Nothing gratifies ego more than really getting appreciation from other people, from the people who benefit from what you bring into the world, from the people that you move with your art, the people whose lives are improved through the products and services that you bring to the marketplace. When you get that thank you, or you get that sincere appreciation coming from people because you've added value, not because you've positioned yourself, not because you've made yourself look good or enhanced your image, but because you really made an impact. Then nothing is more gratifying to the ego than that. So the ego is insatiable. No matter how much you do, it's never going to be satisfied. But it's also indispensable. I can't you know you don't want it. There's no reason to be angry at it. It's just you can't or try to resist it directly. It's a part of who you are, and it's an essential part. You just have to understand the context that it serves you rather than hold you back. So this is how I play myself, and I promise to talk about that in the notes ahead of time. I play myself when I try to shortcut the process of doing anything or making anything in service of my ego's need to look good before I actually am good. Is when there are a lot of ways that you can position yourself to look good before you're able to really deliver and provide value for people. Before you actually have something and can do something, you can make it look like you can do something, and that process is like a lie you tell yourself, because you can start believing your hype. It's the part of the whole, there's a fake it till you make it idea that floats around, where you can present yourself in a certain way, you can position yourself as an expert, but you can't deliver the goods. But when you position yourself, you can really start believing your own hype. And that's when you play yourself, because you can position yourself into an arena, and then you can't deliver. And that's, it's a false and destructive thing. It puts you in a position where your energy is so tied up in posturing and positioning yourself and trying to manage the way that other people think about you, trying to manage other people's impressions. That's a full-time gig. You can get so caught up in trying to look good or maintaining that appearance so that your ego isn't bruised, so that you don't ever have to look bad. You can spend all your time doing that and never have time to actually grow and get to the point where you can actually deliver and actually create something of value and actually have an impact on people's lives. So that's what the real inner game is. It's about delaying gratification, not of yourself, but of your ego. And your ego and you are not the same thing. It's a part of you, but it's not you. You don't have to identify with your ego. Your ego is the voice. And if the voice and you were one and the same, then you wouldn't hear that voice. You wouldn't experience that drive as something outside of yourself. So it's not you. It's that voice is in you that's a part of you. That gratification has to be delayed. But for you, the real you, the gratification is instant, because the gratification is inherent in the work that you're doing. And if it isn't, if you aren't gratified by the process, if you're not gratified by the work itself, not the outcome, but the work itself, if that doesn't feed you and gratify you in some way, then maybe it's time to do something else. So that inner dialogue, that's what you have to try to delay the gratification of, is usually clamoring for your attention. And the thing is, it never goes away. No matter how far you move along in your growth and your process, it's insatiable. It's always going to be there. But the healthier you are, which meaning the more you feed that ego with good food, not the junk or the fake ways that you try to satisfy it in the short term by having, by posturing and presenting, but never offering value. But if you feed it with the real food of the gratitude that other people have for the way that you've added value to your life, by feeding it with the quality that you bring into the world that other people benefit from, then you have the opportunity to quiet it down. It doesn't jump up as quick because it's busy feasting on all the value that you created. So that's what we talk. That's what the inner game is. The way that I see it. I hope that you enjoyed the conversation. I would love to hear your feedback on it. If you got a perspective, what are some of the ways that you think ego has affected you? Some people are on the other side of ego. We look at it and we see people like not caring what people think, and you think, well, who does he think he is? But most of the time, and for most people, that ego isn't driving you to do stuff that's outside of your ability. It's holding you back because you're afraid to look bad. People who have, I admire people who just like when they park and they parallel park, it's like all crazy and out of the lines, and they just don't care. They just punk rock about it. It's not that they can't park, it's that they don't care. Because one of the things that people judge the most, if you ever see somebody parking, there's a lot of judgment around how people park. So my heroes are the people who are just punk rock and just park 3 feet from the curve, all out of the line, don't care what anybody else thinks. So that I just saw that when I walked in, and I was really amazed. I was impressed by how little the person that parked in front of my house cared. That's a strong ego in place. I hope I catch you next week, Monday through Thursday. You can catch me live right here on G+, YouTube, /live. Look forward to your comments and feedback, and that's this session. Check you later.